Welcome to the Fish Bowl. Where everybody? My name is Chief, and joining me today is Juicy. We're talking about LSU taking on Oklahoma in this baseball series coming up. And right now, I'm going to talk a little about in-game, Juicy. Welcome to the show. And how's it going with Louisiana Tech right now?
Well, it's 6-2, top of the seventh. They just gave up a solo home run. DJ Primo took them out, and now we see Connor Binge going in. So I think they got another. I think Primo did get another out though before they took him before Jay Johnson took him out. So
Yeah.
it seems like they got it under control for the most part.
Well, so La Tech just grounded out to the pitcher, and that just ended this inning here. So
Oh
LSU's going
well,
to come at the bat.
Chief is a little bit ahead of me on the
Yeah.
broadcast.
So LSU's gonna have their, let's see where we're at in the order. 1, 2, and 3 order coming up. Carroll, Jones, and Dickerson is coming up to bat here for LSU here.
Good
With
trifecta there.
yeah, so you know, they've all got on base except Carroll so far. Jones is hitting 1 for 2. Dickerson is hitting 1 for 3. Right after him's hitting 1 for 2. So Milam is 0 for 2 so far. Brown's 0 for 2. So, I mean, the Tigers, if you look at how they've been hitting in this, like,
You got to be
team-wide,
impressed. Oh, I was gonna say you got to be impressed with the freshman, the true freshman, Curiel. He's had an amazing year, fresh out of high school, batting over 400.
well, not to spoil you too much, Juicy, but Carroll did single down the right side of the field.
Oh well, that's good. Yeah,
So, yeah, like, I mean, they have 6 runs on 5 hits. La Tech has actually out-hit LSU so far today. Granted, I mean they had that other half inning, but
but
looking at
hits don't
team
hits
team
don't win
team
games.
hitting statistics here with that latest hit that brought LSU was at a 196 and that brought them up to a 227. La Tech is hitting 231 so far today, but I mean they have not done well with runners in scoring position. LSU's 2 for 3, La Tech's 0 for 5. So that's the big stat net this game, I believe, in my opinion. I
That's
think
all
they're
right. The
6
only thing that the only thing that matters is what's in the R column. Ain't nothing else matters at the end of the game.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. We're going to talk about NCAA tournament once we get into April because this is the month, right, Juicy?
For regionals and everything.
Yeah, April. Then you don't get a full month of May. So April is your last real month, like full month of baseball to get yourself in position for tournament play. And LSU is sitting pretty good if you look at everything here. They're 26-3. Now,
Their
their
RPI is like in
RPI
the
is
top
six.
now.
Their RPI is 16 in the country right now. Strength of schedule that is high. Like their strength of schedule has been pretty easy, but that number is going to go down once they start playing more of these SEC teams. They lost to Texas. I think that is their lone series loss on the year so far.
But
And then they ended
they
up.
did battle it. They had a hard, but I know they had. I mean, they still. I was still pretty impressed. I mean, they had a hard battle in the second game with them up until the last couple innings.
Yeah, to that seventh, and then Texas scored 2, then they scored 3 in the eighth, and that kind of just pulled them away. But look, I mean, hey, it's a tough fight, all the way through the season, and then
I
there's
still think LSU's in fantastic shape and can at least take a few win a few more series before the season's done.
now LSU is going to be hosting a regional, I would believe. I think they're in a good spot to host. Super regional wise, I'm not quite sold on that yet because I mean, there's still a lot of games, series left to be played before we even
Close the
think about
door.
like host and stuff like that. But you got this number 9 ranked Oklahoma that you're going to go on the road and face after Louisiana Tech here. They're 22-5. They're not in their RPI 10 here. I like to see who you played so far when it comes to make these because LSU.
I haven't looked
They're
at
60.
Oklahoma's schedule though. I don't know who they really played.
They had a midweek game against Dallas Baptist. They lost 11-0. They took 2 or 3 this past. They took 2 or 3 against South Carolina, and they took 2 or 3 against Mississippi State, and they
That's not
lost the series
that's
to
not Florida State.
Alabama.
And they lost against Alabama.
Yeah, they lost their series against Alabama. So
Well, their series wins aren't really that impressive. South Carolina and Mississippi State aren't exactly like breaking down the walls or anything.
they beat Oregon State and the Carbach Round Rock Classic. That was Minnesota and Virginia as well. Swept Sam Houston. I'm going through their Cal State Northridge. They swept them as well. Texas Southern. They played a 2-game little midweek series with them. And I mean, they didn't play anybody until they started playing SEC teams. I mean, when they did play somebody, it was Alabama, and they ended up losing that one. So right now, collectively as a whole, LSU schedule is weaker than Oklahoma's right now, just on what their strength of schedule was saying, because they had them at 60. LSU's at 123, I think, or could 140. I apologize, 140. But LSU is 4-2 in quadrant, and that is so there's a lot of like quadrant 3 wins, RPI wins. LSU's 8-0 in those, and they're going to be getting another one tonight when they beat Louisiana Tech. So I mean, because Tech's 158, which would put them actually just right outside that quadrant 3. They'll be in quadrant 4. But I want to see what the results have, because those are always fun to watch here. Let me go pull up. Let me share my screen. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm duplicate this one. I'm going to share my screen here real quick. It's going to change my caption because I have the Raging Cajun show. Adjust. Yeah, look, it's going to change. Give me a second. I'm just setting everything up. All right, cool. And let's see. Pull this up. Share screen. I've been doing this a lot tonight, so let's see. LSU softball schedule. That's baseball. Oh yeah, the predicted. Okay, I was wondering. All right, so you see my screen, Juicy?
Yeah, I see it.
All right, so this is what it's got: 46-10 overall record. Number 2 RPI.
That's
14.
what Warren Nolan has them.
Yeah, 14 strength of schedule. 13-8 quadrant 1 through 9-1. This is a little bit. So right now, if you want to look.
Well, if this holds true, then they would be hosting a regional and a super regional probably.
Yeah, especially RPI of 2. If that, but let's see who they got winning and stuff. Let's see. So it's got them losing the series to Oklahoma. Okay, it's got them sweeping Auburn. 2 out of 3 against Alabama.
I can actually see that. Auburn's kind of
Tennessee. Ooh, I don't know about that one. That could flip flop either way. Tennessee's really good this year. 2 out of 3. That's granted. LSU does get Tennessee at home. That's gonna be a really good. Then you got A&M. 2 out of 3. I think they could sweep A&M, honestly.
they're gonna sweep A&M. A&M's way overrated.
A&M's like they're really weak this year. I think they've only won one SEC conference game, I think.
Yep, they're 1-8. Yep, they're 1-8.
Yeah, so and I mean Arkansas. Look, that's why they're getting the RPI of like way up there of 2. But then you got South Carolina. They got them sweeping South Carolina. Paul Maneri, man.
I think they can sweep. But I think they can sweep South Carolina and A&M for sure. They could definitely win those series.
They could definitely win the Arkansas series too. 2 out of 3 against them. Tennessee and Arkansas series that could go either way. They could either lose both of these or they could win both of these. Alabama, I can see them beating the Alabama series. Auburn, I can see them sweeping them too. Oklahoma, I think they.
At least 2 out of 3 against Oklahoma for sure. But I wouldn't be surprised if they swept them.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at this result. SEC kind of beats each other up here. I'm thinking 2 or 3, if that makes sense, against Oklahoma this week. I mean, that to me that makes logical sense, if anything. For sure.
Yeah,
I think
especially if we can get both our starting pitchers to like Ianson against Mississippi State. He actually had one of his better starts this weekend. He finally had a good start. He struck out 12 through 5 innings. Cade Anderson struggled, which was part of the issue Thursday night. When LSU had to come back to win, but they won. And but it helps when you got. You noticed too that LSU has two very reliable relief pitchers with Cowan and Case and Evans.
yeah. I mean, if you look at it there, the pitching's been suspect.
I've made the argument that Zach Cowan should be take Chase Shores out and put Zach Cowan in the rotation.
Definitely, definitely something to consider. I would say.
I'm thinking Jay Johnson's gonna wait till later on in the year though to kind of like make that determination though, especially for the postseason.
I mean, maybe you could save him and just kind of throw everybody for a loop, basically. If that's your strategy, though. If you just.
But depending on how far you get into regionals, how many games you play in regionals or in Omaha, whatever it's going to be, you'll guarantee 3 starting pitchers. But then after that, no telling how many games you got to play, you're going to have to find some more guys somewhere. So that might be where you have like a Zach Cowan or a Case and Evans or something like that.
Yeah, I'm posting to one of the groups that we are an admin on, LSU True Fans on Facebook. You should join that group, man. That's always posting some LSU content up in there for all you Tiger fans.
So while we're on the subject, what you think? Curriel gets SEC Freshman of the Year because that's some early talk right now.
Look, he's year, okay. I mean we all knew he could do it. I mean, he's batting 406. You know how hard it is to bat over 400.
And he's only a true freshman.
And he's only a true freshman. So you would imagine that he's going to get better. Like if this is his bottom, man, I would be terrified. You hear me? Terrified to see him at the top of his game.
Because players usually only get better. Like, look at Jared Jones when he was a true freshman. Now, and even like last year,
he would strike out a lot. But whenever he would hit it,
he would strike out a lot. But this year, he's cut his strikeouts in half.
Yeah,
he's only got like half the strikeouts he had the past, like even like last year.
I mean, they got a very good. LSU can hit the ball. We know with LSU's got bats. They play. That is
not so much this year though. The home runs aren't as many like this year as you expected years past. But
I mean, years past you also had Dylan.
Well, you did have a year with Jared Jones, Dylan Cruz, Tommy White,
and then you had Tommy White last year though too. So
Braden. You had Braden, Joe Bear.
This is still look. I'm just saying this is still a gorilla ball team.
Hernandez is starting to come around though. He's hit 5 home runs like in the past 3 weeks.
Hey, he's riding a hot streak, man. That's all you can ask for, honestly, because
at Indiana State last year he hit 23 home runs. So he's starting to find his stroke now.
Yeah. I mean, that's just the way it is. Like, you got to get dialed in at some points there and just be the way it is. And just
But
right.
anyway, but I'm with you though. I expect them. I'm thinking they're gonna win the series. I don't know if they're gonna sweep, but I think I can see a two
I'd
out of
say
three
two out
for
of three.
sure.
It's so hard to sweep in the SEC unless it's like A&M or Mississippi State.
I mean, LSU's already got like two sweeps with Missouri. I mean, it was just Missouri and Mississippi State, but
Yeah. I mean, how what level would you put LSU's entire bullpen? Would you say this is like, oh, this is a College World Series caliber bullpen, or is this a super regional bullpen or a regional bullpen? What tier are we going with this?
definitely, definitely right now, I would say it's borderline College World Series. I'm not gonna say it's there, but I'm gonna say it's better than last year's or the past couple years.
I mean, would you like?
Especially,
I mean, what about when LSU won it all in 2023? What would you rate it? I mean, take away Paul Skeens. If Skeens isn't part of that group, where you got them, where you got that 2023 team at? If you took Skeens out of it,
oh, honestly, I probably still think they would have gotten pretty far, but it wouldn't be so much for the pitching. It'd be because they outpower everybody.
yeah. Um, yeah, because Paul Skeens played a huge role in that national championship run too.
But LSU had a lot of pitchers like step up in the postseason too, though.
Yeah, they did.
Because remember, we all had our doubts, but they proved us wrong.
Yeah, they did. I mean, hey, that's the way. That's the way it goes. You got to be able to do it here. So, I think right now, as I'm talking here, I think this is a super regional team, like pitching staff.
What about the team as a whole, like overall,
Overall,
offense and?
I always value pitching over hitting because I think a great pitcher can silence any hitter. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, I think right now, because I don't have we're just getting into the big like meat of the SEC schedule. So my expectation is I'm thinking that this LSU baseball team right now, as I am speaking, is super regional right now. I don't think they're quite in the top 8 right now because I don't trust their bullpen is suspect at times. And that is a fair criticism, okay? Because they can get in some trouble here. But then again, like, and I also want to see them play competition. Whereas, like, I want to see them get in the meat of the SEC schedule. How are they going to do against Arkansas? How are they going to do against Alabama? How are they going to do against Tennessee? I think those 3 series will tell a big tale for LSU baseball. I think that is one thing that we have to keep an eye out on when we get down to these situations. How well do they react to these teams in the SEC when they get down to them? Are they close losses? I think they could have won the Texas series, but they just kind of ran out toward the end there. And then they had some unfavorable calls against Texas. I mean, the Texas series. So, not going to blame it all on the umpires. I think that's kind of a scapegoat way of coping with a loss. But because, look, let me explain myself on the scapegoat thing real quick because I'm going to get hate mail. But anyway, so here's where the hate mail. Here's where the hate mail dies. Okay, do not put yourself in that situation. Straight up, just don't do it. Like if you have an opportunity to, because you had, if you've been tied with somebody the whole entire game, but you kept position, you managed to strike out, and you did it 4 or 5 times. You did it to yourself at that point.
That's true.
So, I mean, you can blame the ump all you want, but like if you left like 10 runners on base, I mean, come on. That's common sense right there. Tell you like 10 runners left on the base. You could at least got 2 or 3 more around at that point. You start hitting double digit runners on base, and that's not good. You get on base and score runs.
Now the way they handled being down to Mississippi State the first game when they were down to like 6-2, and they came back to win that one.
Yeah, I mean they proved they can handle adversity. Now let's go switch this over to LSU softball here. They are coming off a series loss to South Carolina. They've had a hot streak going. They beat Georgia. They beat Kentucky in SEC play. So they've won 2 out of 3 SEC series so far. They beat the Cajuns last week.
I've seen enough out of them to still say that I'm still gonna say they're Oklahoma City
I think so
team
too. I
though.
think I think this LSU softball team is OKC bound. I it's they got Alabama coming up this weekend. I could see them sweeping Alabama. To be honest with you, I think they could win these next 3 games. I
Alabama
mean,
really fell apart since a lot
yeah,
over the past like couple years as a softball team.
they ended up beating McNeese. Um, I mean that midweek game. Right now, LSU softball RPI is at a 4. Strength of schedule to 13. So yeah, they're going to be hosting a super if this stays true. Yeah, they're 15-3 against quadrant 1 opponents. I mean that is really good. Up until they lost to Georgia, I'm trying to see how many wins in a row. Wait. No, they had Cal State. I keep forgetting about Cal State Fullerton because they've beaten some really good ball clubs. This is not a team to be ashamed to lose to LSU if you lose to them. So A&M's good this year in Texas. That's a really tough slate. Then they got Florida. So those next three series, Alabama series is gonna be real down. I'm gonna share that screen with you real quick, Juicy, so you can see what I'm talking about here. But that right there is really that's a brutal that's a brutal run right there. Look,
Oh yeah, it's brutal, but I mean, I know for sure
Texas,
they're gonna drop. They at least gonna drop one of
Florida.
those series, but I definitely think they could win
I
two of them.
yeah, I think they're gonna drop one of those series. I would be shocked if they made it all through there, uns, unscathed. Needless to say,
I hope they, I hope they do, because then I'll be like, well, they're gonna win the national championship.
yeah. Uh, I mean, there. Let's see. I'm trying to see how all this is gonna shake out here. So they get Alabama at home. They go on the road at Texas A&M. On the road at Texas. They play McNeese again. Then they get Florida at home. So it's gonna be tough. This is gonna be a very tough run for LSU softball. I want to see what the predictor has because I'm curious. What you think, Juicy? They're just gonna have them at. You think they're gonna have 10 losses on their record? I'm kind of curious to see what that predictor says. I'm kind of curious there. So let's see. Predicted results. So, it's 39-4. Dang, man. They really have LSU. Okay, that's a lot of losses. Let's see. Dude, man. So they have 2 out of 3 against Alabama. Win against Louisiana Tech. 3 losses to A&M. 2 out of 3 against Texas. That I'm shocked. I really am shocked that it even went that far.
What it had because we had lost connection. What it happened?
Yeah. So I was like, did you hear me say predicted results?
No, it cut off. No, we had some technical difficulties before. I got you.
the stream going. But 30. So I ask you, you think LSU's gonna have more than 10 losses this year?
I don't think so. I think they'll be probably right at 10 at the worst.
So the predictor's got 39-14.
Ooh, I think that's a kind of a aggressive.
Yeah, 3 against Alabama. I think they're sweeping Alabama this week, to be honest with you. A win against Louisiana Tech. It has the Tigers getting swept by A&M, losing 2 out of 3 to Texas, taking
I
2
can
out of
see
3 against.
that because Texas is really good.
The shocker of this one's the Arkansas one, in my opinion. It's getting swept by Arkansas. I see Texas sweeping LSU more than Arkansas sweeping LSU or A&M. I mean that, but I don't know, man. That's kind of a stretch. I think 2 out of 3 against Arkansas. Florida series of Florida. Florida's really good this year. That 2 out of 3 win, that could easily be a like drop into. I mean, I just don't see that sweep against Arkansas happening. Oh man, that's a doozy there. But I mean, if it ends up being this way, I mean, that's not bad. 8 RPI, 4 strength of schedule. That's good enough to host a super. I would believe. I think you got a real good chance with that schedule there, doing really well. But I think people will be really disappointed in you. That's for sure. And how it would end if you ended up like this. But I mean, AC
So
Bergeron.
even at 39-14, they would look like they'd still host a regional and a super.
I mean, you don't think
Oh yeah, I
so?
think with the RPI like that, I think they would.
That's 4. Yeah. And the RPI. No, I mean RPI of 8. I still think they would host super because that strength of schedule is at a 4. Your non-conference RPI at 3, non-conference strength of schedule 25, and that quadrant 1 be at 16-13. Now this is just a predictor. If you're just joining the fishbowl right now, this is just a predictor. Make added here. This is no way. This is what's actually going on. 32-4, but this is fun to talk about scenario wise. I think they sweep Alabama though. I'm dropping this series to them. I think they got it, to be honest with you.
I'm with you on that.
The baseball game. Let's see here. LSU, 10-2 lead over Louisiana Tech. They piled it on in a 4-run bomb in the 7th inning here. LSU ain't leaving that many batters on base, which is good. Only 4 left on so far today.
Which is what we just talked about earlier.
It's
critical to leave as few runners on base as possible.
Curiel and Stanfield, Curiel, and Jones coming out the bat.
Stanfield's surprisingly good. I didn't know how he was going to do, but I mean, he did play in the SEC already at Auburn, so. Stanfield's actually has. I find he's got a real good eye for the ball. Actually, he don't strike out much.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for, man. That is all you can ask for.
I find he's surprisingly has a really good eye. But,
I mean, he's hitting 308.
Yeah, he is hitting 308. I don't know about Michael Braswell. I don't know why we still fool with him that much, so we both think LSU baseball and softball could probably host regionals and super regionals.
Yeah, I'm still on the fence about baseball just because of like they haven't played. I want them to get through the meat of the SEC. Softball, I'm kind of sold on them. I'm definitely more sold on softball than I am baseball for sure. And I'm not being a hater. Oh, you hate LSU? No, I don't. I'm just calling it like I see it.
That's fair. I'm not saying you hate.
I know some other people would, but like they have to get to the meat part of the SEC because you still got Tennessee. Oklahoma is gonna tell you a lot because I think they'll probably end up beating Auburn. Depending on how this Oklahoma series is, you got Alabama at 8, Tennessee at 1. Like A&M and South Carolina, I think they'll win both those series. Arkansas, like there's still a lot of like really good teams, and LSU hasn't played any really good SEC teams aside from Texas. That's the only team that they have played that is
Now,
pretty good.
the way the RPI is, they don't even have to win. They don't even have to win the series against a team with a high RPI. They just need to, even if they win a game against a team with a high RPI, or like a Tennessee or somebody like that, then that'll still boost the RPI, which is why it's still important to,
Shoot, even if they lose, it still would help them out too.
especially if they lose close, but even if they just win one game, which is why it's crucial to try to never get swept.
Yeah, and I think a lot of SEC teams definitely use that as a scapegoat in terms of like. So Missouri's having a terrible year in baseball. I'm not a good example. Mississippi State, they're 17-12, but they got an RPI of 59. Okay, like they're kind of close to 500 compared to Louisiana Tech, who almost has an identical record, and their RPI is 161.
Which is strange because Louisiana Tech not so long ago was a team that was borderline like hosting a regional and stuff.
Yeah, McNeese is 17-5 this year, so they're having a pretty good year themselves.
Well, that's good. I'd like to go out to Lake Charles and catch one of their games one day.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with all that there, but uh, I think we covered all this stuff. Juicy.
Well, want to say proud of the LSU women basketball team. May make it an honorable mention. They had a really good year. I'm not gonna get on the fire Kim Mulkey. I'll never say that because before she got there, the program was an absolute shambles. So I can't complain now.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's done a great job this year. Very tough to say that she's not doing a good job. I mean, Elite Eights are very hard to come by. Only national championship winning coach, and LSU women's basketball. You know,
Can we get her to coach the men's team too somehow?
hey, I mean, it looks like he's bringing in some recruits. Matt McMahon.
Huh?
He's bringing in some recruits. I saw.
Well,
We shared him to our Facebook page. So if y'all want to know who he's bringing in, that's where it's all at right there.
ain't a lot
Like
of patience
literally,
with Matt. Not a lot of patience with Matt McMahon right now.
yeah. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hope you have a great and wonderful day. We're gonna see you here next time on the Fishbowl Sports Radio. Have a good night, Fishbowl Nation.
Oh.